Joining me now in a Waters World exclusive, former Trump White House chief strategist and host of the War Room Pandemic radio show, Steve Bannon. All right, Steve, so what do you think? Best week ever for the president?
Best 2 weeks. I mean, if you look at USMCA, if you look at the Israeli deal, if you look at Ivanka's human trafficking, you know, the counterfeit, Brexit, the pandemic, the bold moves he makes on pandemic. He said in his inauguration address, now comes the hour of action. You've seen he's focused on action, action, action. Well, they've had the nullification project for 2 years, but the nullification project's not going to stop.
It's not going to stop.
They don't. Well, here's why. They don't have the personalities. They don't have big personalities, and they don't have policies. The policies are so far left.
So they have to do it on the down low right now.
It's the total destruction of Donald Trump. That's what their focus is.
That's all they have.
If we don't think they're going to subpoena, they're going to come back with subpoenas on Bolton. They're going to come back with subpoenas, and this is why I've argued for a long trial in the impeachment, or now get Lindsey Graham. We need to get all this on the table.
Well, right? That's what Lindsey Graham says. Lindsey Graham says he's going to bring the whistleblower in. We could have the second whistleblower come in. Adam Schiff could maybe have to testify. And he's already clearing house with Vindman, and he's recalling Sondland, the EU ambassador.
First off, he needs a clear house. We talked about this in 2017. He needs to get people that support his policies in there to execute this. He deserves that. But I think what President Trump's been saying is not just about him, about future presidents. If one day AOC is the president, she is commander-in-chief.
What did you just say? Well, no, it's very hard for me to even wrap my head around that analogy.
What I'm trying to say is President Trump is sitting there saying it's not about him. It's about the office of the president.
Right.
We need to vet this. And I think the Senate Judiciary is a place to start. And you bring one of your guests tonight. You bring Rudy Giuliani. Let him have 2 days on national TV in a formal setting and let him be crossed. Let him put all the information he has up there.
Well, not only that, you get where's Hunter? Because right now, and we're going to talk to Rudy about this in a little bit, they're going to actually subpoena some records from the Treasury to see if there was any financial irregularities going on with Hunter, with Burisma, and the Obama administration. You called this CPAC 2017. You said this is what it was going to be like. Let's listen.
Here's why it's going to get worse. Because he's going to continue to press his agenda. And as economic conditions get better, as more jobs get better, they're going to continue to fight. If you think they're going to give you your country back without a fight, you are sadly mistaken. Every day it is going to be a fight.
So that was a couple years ago. Did you think it was going to be this ugly?
I thought it was going to be this ugly.
You thought you'd see impeachment and leaks and special counsels?
When I went around in 2018 with the film Trump at War, I said if we lose the House of Representatives, she's promised people she's going to impeach him.
That's what it was.
They don't have another alternative. They don't have There's nobody on that stage going to beat Donald Trump. There's no set of policies that people galvanize around is going to beat Donald Trump. His economic program is working. His America First national security policy is working. And Trump triggers them.
Right.
I did Bill Maher last night. You go in that crowd, just the concept of Donald Trump and the deplorables triggers these people.
Yeah,
so
they were throwing tomatoes at you. Let's listen to a little of Steve versus Bill Maher. Roll that.
We mostly lose because a senator in Wyoming represents 290,000 people, and a senator here represents 20 million. That's mostly why we lose. The Electoral College.
No, it's called a republic, sir.
It's called a republic with the...
What I love about you guys, you've got to whine about everything. Hey, it's match play, not medal play.
No,
win it, match play.
I understand what the rules are.
Show me you could win. No, you know what the rules are, and you can't win.
You're right. It's his best week ever. That's what I said. Okay, I wish we had someone on our side as evil as you, Steve. It's great to see you. Thank you for doing.
You looked a little depressed there.
Because look at Trump's actions. They don't know what to do next. But I got to tell you, these people are going to continue to subpoena. That's why I think Lindsey Graham in the Senate, we've got to vet this. Let's get it all out there. Because let's get the whistleblower. Let's get the second whistleblower. Let's get Brennan up there. Let's get Adam Schiff as a fact
Brennan
witness.
Up there?
Let's get Brennan. Let's get Adam Schiff as a fact witness. Let's get everybody up there, Jesse,
in front of the nation. Do you think the Senate Republicans have what it takes for that kind of scorched earth investigation?
I think they owe it. Here's what the Republicans in the Senate, they owe it to this country. This is like the Church Commission. Remember, the excesses of the CIA and the FBI in the 50s and 60s led to the Church Commission after Watergate in the 70s. That's what we need. Lindsey Graham's judiciary has to start it.
Well, you got Durham, too, on the other side.
But Durham,
you have a lot of expectation for Durham or not?
That's a criminal proceeding with a grand jury. However that proceeds, it proceeds. This is something actually more important. This is before the nation nation to see the abuses against Donald Trump so that we can sit there and what Trump says, it's not about him. This should never happen to another president.
Right.
And what President Trump has said is very important. He's trying to protect the office of the president.
Right, it's about executive power. All right. We talked about this before we came on the air, China and this pandemic, this virus that's going out there, corona. How big of a threat is this right now? It looks like at this point it's deadlier than the SARS virus. How do you see it?
Well, listen, I think coming to America, President Trump has taken bold and smart action, okay? A couple of weeks ago, he's got this task force. They got the right people on it. He's taken smart measures.
If this thing blows up, is he going to pay a price for not acting fast enough?
I think he's acted fast enough.
Do you think he needs a full travel ban yet or no?
Well, listen, I think he's acted fast enough now. Here's the problem, I think, is in China. In China, this is of biblical scale. It's not that the CCP, who I'm very anti, would lie to you. I don't think they have their hands around it.
They don't even know what's going on.
This is if you want to see what's going on, watch the movie Chernobyl, the 5 episodes. This is a biological Chernobyl. I don't think they have their hands around it because right now they're the personnel. I think 3 things have to happen. Number 1, the firewall has to come down on the internet so the Chinese people had full access to Western information.
That's not going to happen.
Well, number 1, I think it has to happen. Number 2, President Trump has offered 3 times the CDC and others, real virus killers, virus hunters to go there. I think the Chinese Communist Party has to accept WHO and CDC members to go. And
virus hunters.
Yeah, the Dr. Leung in Hong Kong. These are guys that know how to track down these viruses. Wow. Number 3, I think medical personnel. You see the collapse of the public health system in Wuhan. Remember, this is a city the size of New York. And right now, it's totally under quarantine. They're going door to door and see who has this.
See, that's the only thing I think that can really slow things down is this virus. But like we said, can Bernie slow down Donald Trump? Can Bloomberg do it?
Well, listen,
are you handicapping this thing?
Look,
what do you think?
Look, here's the bottom line. After the Democratic Party said the president's a clear and present danger because of Russian oligarchs, the Democratic Party now has to rely upon an American oligarch. It's outrageous.
You call him an oligarch?
He's an oligarch.
Why do you call him that?
Because the oligarch. He's made this money over the last couple of years, got $70 billion, and he's prepared.
He didn't steal it, though, did he?
No, he made it. He made it. But what he's prepared to do is saying, even if he's not the Democratic nominee, he will put $2 billion because of a personal vendetta against Donald Trump to defeat Donald Trump.
That's a lot of cash.
Listen, Bernie, look, I like Bernie a lot. Bernie's not going to make it, okay? And I keep telling Bernie supporters, they are totally disrespected and discounted by the Democratic Party. They got cheated out of Iowa, out of the poll.
Do you think that was funny business in Iowa, or do you think they're just incompetent?
I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, but there are no coincidences. How does the poll not get released where he's up 4, which is always a bounce, and then as soon they don't do the thing right the first night, and then they got to recanvass. They said
some little producer guy, when he resized the poll, he resized it too big and it cut Buttigieg's name off the bottom.
There are no conventions.
That's what he said.
Hold it. And as soon as Bernie gets in the lead, they want to recanvass. The Bernie voters are not respected by the Democratic Party. They ought to give Trump a listen. Trump respects the Bernie voters. And listen, these guys didn't turn out for Hillary Clinton in 2016. They ought to turn out for Donald Trump in 2020 because Bernie's not going to be the nominee. Here's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
He's coming in. Bloomberg's coming in with all that capital. He's going to let off a thermonuclear capital weapon on Super Tuesday. It's going to shatter this field, and that's when Hillary Clinton, I think, is going to come back out of the bullpen and run with Bloomberg's money, with Dolly's Frazier. And
if they ride in on Bloomberg's briefcase full of cash,
if they think that Hillary Clinton's going to beat Donald Trump,
they love saying that.
I love Dolly Frazier too. But here's the thing:
because doesn't Bloomberg need a box? I think the president says he's too short to be on the debate stage. Let's listen to that.
I would love to run against Bloomberg. I would love it. Now he wants a box for the debates to stand on. Okay, it's okay. There's nothing wrong. You could be short. Why should he get a box to stand on, okay? He wants a box for the debates.
I mean, why should he get a box?
The best ever.
I mean, did he just make that up, or do you know something?
No, I'm sure the president knows something that other people don't know, and he's going to force it. Hey, everybody's got to stand on the platform, right? You don't get a box.
All right, he'll have a box full of cash and a box to stand on. All right, Steve Bannon, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me on.
All right.